Coach Tony, Wrestling Podium Performance here. Today I'm going to be talking about how much protein you actually need for optimal health, how to go about achieving that amount of protein every single day, and why is it that we need this much protein. The United States of America's Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, states that in order for us to have basic survivability, we need roughly half to 0.6 grams per kilogram of body weight every single day in protein. The reality is, this is just simply not enough for optimal health or for performance goals. Those who are sedentary need at least twice this amount just for them to be a little bit on the healthy side. Now, if you're active, you need much more protein than these. And if you're sick, on a low carb diet, injured, or older, again, you need much more protein than this. So I'll start out with the elderly population. They need much more protein than what is recommended. One of the reasons why is that as we age, sadly, our body starts to break down. It no longer holds on to nutrients the same way. It just starts to no longer function the same way. So in order to help alleviate that, consuming a little bit more protein is going to be beneficial. So in populations like this, again, you're looking at least 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. A sedentary individual, you're looking at 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight for better health. Those who are athletic need much more. You're looking at 2.2 to 3 grams per kilogram of body weight. The reason for this, the more active you are, the more strain you place upon the body, the more it breaks down. This breakdown requires more in order for it to recover. So it's kind of like if I'm very active training 6 days a week and I compete and I'm a professional athlete, I need roughly 3 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight just for me to recover in order for me to be able to stay at this level and perform. Those who are low carb need more protein because when you're on a low carb diet, part of the protein that you take in, your body is going to partition away just so that it can be used for energy purposes. Carbohydrate is the energy macronutrient. So those who are consuming carbs in their diet don't need as much protein as someone on a low carb diet because those carbs are being used for energy and the protein gets used for recovery and regeneration. If you're injured and sick, both of these require protein, but for two different mechanisms. Injury is to rebuild tissue. If you're sick, it's to fight off infection. To fight off infection, the body needs protein to build antibodies in order to take away the infection. If you're injured, your body needs protein to rebuild the tissue to replace the broken down tissue. So it's the same idea, just two different ways of going about it down a forked road. I personally recommend for people to have 2 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein every day. There's many reasons behind this, which I'll get into at the end. So how do we go about achieving a protein goal? So I'm going to use the number 70 kilograms because I weigh that as the basis for all the calculations or for this example, because your own protein goal is going to be based upon what you weigh. So me being 70 kilos, me being highly active, I'm going to use, just for argument's sake, 150 grams of protein every day. How do I go about achieving that? Well, I personally eat at least 3 meals a day. So the fastest way for me to achieve this 150 grams is, okay, let's break it up over the course of the day. Get a protein source at every feeding, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then also, my post-workout, I'm going to have a protein shake. So right there, I've got 4 feedings where I'm achieving 150 grams. Instead of trying to focus on, oh, if I only have protein at 1 meal, now I have to get 150 grams in 1 meal. That's hard to do. But if it's split up over the course of the day, that's much more achievable. By taking a big number, splitting it out across the day, it makes things much more attainable. So from that, I prefer animal-based sources because they're complete protein sources. They have the full profile of amino acids, which means nothing's going to be lacking. Post-workout, I'm not necessarily going to come to my gym with a steak or a chicken breast in hand and have it wait potentially all day. No, I'm going to have a quick protein supplement, so a protein shake, take a scoop of protein, put it in some water, shake it up, drink it, boom, I just hit 30 to 35 grams of protein right there. Now, each meal, in order for me to hit that 150, well, now I've got 115 grams to go. If I'm hitting 30 to 40 grams at every single feeding, it's very easy for me to achieve my protein goal. that's where we start to use supplements to help us achieve these goals much easier. And people got to get over the concept that, oh, supplements are bad. They aren't. They're literally just food that's been dried out, powdered down, and made much more easily transportable. And per serving, a lot of times it ends up being cheaper even than having a high protein like steak or veal or venison, which are very high expense, especially in today's market. I personally don't recommend many plant-based protein sources. The reason for this is simply that per gram of protein, they're much higher calorically. So in order for you to get 50 grams, for example, you're gonna have to eat a lot more calories overall to achieve that. So it's not gonna be as efficient or as beneficial to us. Now, why is it that protein is so critical for our health? One, as I mentioned when I was talking about being sick, is the backbone for our immune system and antibodies. When we're looking at recovery from injury or from workouts, it allows us to recover. It rebuilds the tissue. Every single cell in the human body requires protein. In order for you to break food down, to digest it, in order for you to function, in order for you to actually even be speaking or moving, your body requires protein. Without it, we don't live. And then one of the least spoken about benefits to consuming more protein is you're less likely to overeat. If you're less likely to overeat, you're then going to be less likely to put on fat. So all of this combined is going to lead to a much more healthy, more optimal health and a higher performing body, whether that performance is for sport or everyday life. A better performing body is always a better thing. So, Coach Tony, Risking Podium Performance, embrace your potential and eat that steak.